Right now at 5, a uniformed Miami police officer wearing a pro-Trump mask at a voting site. Tonight, the fallout.
Rounds of rain rolling through South Florida. We're on the storm watch.
Day 2 early turnout for early voting. The latest from the polls and the campaign trail.
Plus, it's Tua time. The Dolphins handing over the reins to their star rookie. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carly Barnett in for Lauren Pastrana.
And I'm Elliot Rodriguez. CBS 4 News at 5 starts right now.
This is CBS 4 News at 5.
First at 5, we're on the storm watch tonight. A live look outside right now at another cloudy evening as rounds of rain continue to make their way across parts of South Florida.
Here's a live look at Doppler radar. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Craig Setzer for a closer look. Craig?
Yeah, it's going to be kind of a wet night again tonight.
Craig, thank you. Turning now to Campaign 2020, and a record number of voters are heading to the polls for the second day of early voting here in the key battleground state of Florida. More than 3 million statewide have already cast their ballots, with still 2 weeks until November's general election.
Well, day 2 did not come without controversy. A uniformed City of Miami police officer is now facing backlash for wearing a pro-Trump mask while voting. CBS 4's Joan Murray begins our live team coverage from Coconut Creek. Joan.
Well, never a dull moment in this early voting cycle. Joan Murray, CBS 4 News.
Joan, thank you for that live report. The host of Facing South Florida's Jim DeFeedy joins us now. So, Jim, in reference to this officer wearing a mask, why is it such a big deal?
Well, you know, like I said, this was an incident where at least the officer wasn't working. The problem was he's in uniform.
Well, Jim, you had referenced those national polls. Obviously, the polls missed the mark, to say the least, back in 2016. So is there any reason to believe that this is different from 2016?
You know, look, this is what the Trump campaign wants to stress, is that we saw this sort of sense of deja vu. Everyone was writing Donald Trump.
President Trump travels to the key state of Pennsylvania, which Jim mentioned today, to rally supporters in the battleground state with 2 weeks until the election.
He is also criticizing new rules for this week's final presidential debate. CBS's Natalie Brand reports from the White House.
President Trump travels to the key battleground state of Pennsylvania today. CBS News, the White House.
Well, yesterday, the Supreme Court agreed to extend the deadline for counting some mail-in ballots in Pennsylvania by 3 days, citing the pandemic and postal delays.
Still ahead on CBS 4 News at 5, a man shot and killed in Hollywood. The shooter, who police believe is a woman, is on the run. We'll take you inside that investigation.
As COVID cases rise, are schools really safe for students and teachers? What doctors say next.
It's Tua time. The Dolphins turning to the future of the franchise. CBS 4 sports anchor Jim Barry has the details next. Now at 5, a veteran South Florida teacher is speaking out about the challenges he and his fellow teachers face in the middle of a public health crisis. Weeks after students return to the classroom, COVID-19 cases are on the rise.
A concern that he has not only for himself and his students, but also his family. Tonight, CBS 4's Peter Dench is live outside of Whispering Pines Elementary with his story. Peter.
Well, Carly, there was an 80% increase in coronavirus cases at Miami-Dade schools.
People of all ages are now able to get tested for coronavirus at Hard Rock Stadium. A new antigen system began this morning with results in 15 minutes. Previously, tests were only given to children 5 and older. This comes as the site performs a record high number of tests. Last Wednesday, more than 3,100 people were tested. That's about 300 more than its daily average. Officials say that spike is due in part to large groups of students getting tested. As of last week, more than 230,000 tests have been given at that site.
Let's check in with Craig right now. Can you hear the storm outside?
I can hear it.
It is strong. It is coming down strong here in Doral, Craig.
Yeah, it is, and it's going to be strong, especially tomorrow.
Well, there's much more news ahead at 5, including an old scam with a new twist. Unsuspecting victims forking over millions of dollars. Tonight, the new urgent warning from the FBI. Police in Hollywood say a woman is on the run tonight, wanted for shooting and killing a man. That shooting happened at the Cambridge Square apartments this morning, even prompting schools to have to go on lockdown.
Now investigators are trying to figure out why. CBS 4's Brooke Schaefer in Hollywood with the latest.
911 calls of a shooting.
Getting back to campaign 2020, we are highlighting a key race in South Florida, the 26th congressional district seat. Currently head by Democrat Debbie Mucarsel-Powell, Miami-Dade Mayor Carlos Jimenez, a Republican, is challenging her for a chance in Congress. We spoke with the two candidates to see their stance on just a few of the hot-button issues. Democratic incumbent Debbie Mucarsel-Powell is running against Republican Miami-Dade Mayor Carlos Jimenez for Congress. This is Jimenez's first time running for Congress and Mucarsel-Powell's second. Of course, one of the most pressing and prevalent problems we are facing is the coronavirus pandemic and subsequent economic consequences.
I think I've done a lot of things right. We've done it in a very methodical way. Being very conservative. We've closed down things when we had to close them, and then we opened them when we thought it was safe to do so.
In Miami-Dade County, COVID has left more than 3,000 people who have lost their lives because of this pandemic. We had become a hotspot, not just in the entire United States, but in the world at one point during the summer because of his failure to really follow the science, the data, to make sure that we had enough testing sites in place and to institute a contact tracing program.
In Congress, I would look for a stimulus package that stimulates growth, that incentivizes business, not disincentivizes business. I would not be in favor of raising the tax on corporations. That's just going to disincentivize corporations and businesses from hiring Americans, and that's exactly what we need in order to get our economy, rolling again.
We need to provide economic relief to the small businesses that lost millions and millions of dollars during the pandemic, and to so many of them that haven't been able to reopen. We need to extend unemployment benefits. I've been advocating for extending $600 through January 2021, and we need to send another round of stimulus checks.
And the health crisis we are facing brings up the matter of health care and cost.
What we need to do is make sure that we protect the Affordable Care Act. Right now, the Trump administration and the Republicans in Washington, D.C. are trying to abolish the Affordable Care Act. In this district, we have 300,000 people that are living with pre-existing condition that could lose their coverage because of this lawsuit that Trump is, during a pandemic, intent and following through.
One thing that I will always be supporting is the pre-existing conditions and people with pre-existing conditions, and try to help as much as possible those that need good quality health care. What I will not do is I won't throw out 200 million people in their plans, which are the private health plans that insure most Americans, to have a government-run health system.
The demand for racial justice has been front and center this year, highlighting concerns with police brutality, spurring marches for change, some turning violent.
I instituted the policy with body-worn cameras. Why? Because a lot of the problems happen when somebody, it's a he said, she said thing. Well, I think he did this, and I think the police officer did this. When you have a body-worn camera, you know exactly what happened. It also drives better behavior, not only from the person that you are interacting with, but also from the police officer themselves.
When there is violence in the streets, those people causing violence have to be held accountable. I mean, I think we all agree with that. But they have forgotten that, meanwhile, you have thousands of peaceful protesters demanding justice, and the Republicans are turning their back on that.
Now, this is an important race because it has the potential to affect which party has control of the House. Right now, the Democratic Party is the majority, but all seats are up for re-election. So if the Republican Party gains 20 seats, they would be the party in control. For more on this race and campaign 2020, you can go to cbsmiami.com.
All right, still ahead on CBS 4 News at 5:30. Another chance to remember the late, great actor Chadwick Boseman. Tonight, we're getting a first look at the actor's final film appearance. A sneak peek next.
And Legally Blonde fans, Reese Witherspoon wants to invite you to a big party. The trending details next. You can get ready for one fun college reunion. Reese Witherspoon is hosting a Legally Blonde reunion tonight with several of her co-stars from the 2001 hit. For more info on that, you can always go to her Hello Sunshine YouTube channel.
One of the all-time great movies, right?
That's what we were talking about in the break. I love this movie. Every time it's on, I will watch it.
It's great. So many great lines in it. There are always great stories stories and videos to see online. Check out more of what's trending on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and cbsmiami.com/webextra.
Well, remember the movie Armageddon and the mission to an asteroid? Well, today life is imitating art. And now to a CBS 4 security alert. The FBI is warning about an old scam that now has a new twist, and it's convincing innocent victims to hand over millions of dollars. Officials say almost all scams begin with a robocall, but now scammers are able to use a number that makes it look like the calls are coming from the FBI. Several FBI field offices across the country have warned about the scam.
A St. Louis resident received a telephone call, and that telephone call was from some people pretending to be from the FBI. The scammers were able to convince her to ultimately wire her life savings to a bank account. The FBI will never call and ask or threaten or to demand you to transfer money or to send us any money.
Victims of the phone and internet scams can reach out to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. The sooner authorities are contacted, the more likely they can recover the money.
Show Me the Monet will go up for auction tomorrow. It is expected to fetch between $4 million to $6.5 million. Serious stuff right there.
Oh, is that all? Just $4 to $6 million? Well, something that is not exactly a work of art is our forecast right now. Chief Meteorologist Craig Setzer joining us now. Hey, Craig.
No, you get to paint in lots of grays when you're painting our weather here.
Well, today a NASA spacecraft is making a historic maneuver, landing on the surface of an asteroid hurtling through space.
CBS 4's Chris Martinez tells us why scientists have big hopes for the small spacecraft and what it could bring home.
It's a mission more than a decade. CBS News, Los Angeles.
The asteroid Bennu is the smallest object ever to be orbited by a NASA spacecraft. Scientists say the OSIRIS-REx spacecraft is about the size of a small van.
Wow, that's fascinating. As long as they don't mess with the direction of that asteroid, keeps it away from us,
yes.
It's all good.
The last thing we need in 2020, right?
No, we don't need that. That's CBS 4 News at 5:30.
Here's what's next on CBS 4 News at 6. A City of Miami police officer is now being disciplined for wearing a Trump face mask at an early voting polling site. What the police chief and Miami's mayor are saying tonight.
New surveillance video is showing the moment that a car was riddled with bullets. We are live in Oakland Park with the latest.
And a veteran Miami-Dade school teacher shares with us the classroom challenges he and his colleagues face in the age of COVID. CBS 4 News at 6 starts right now.
This is CBS 4 News at 6.
Now at 6, this is the picture that has social media buzzing. A uniformed Miami police officer wearing a Trump mask at an early voting site. Tonight, the fallout and what officials are saying about this cop controversy. Good evening, I'm Elliot Rodriguez.
And I'm Carly Barnett, in tonight for Lauren Pastrana. That officer has been disciplined, but the union is backing him up. Also, some pretty impressive opening day early voting numbers in South Florida and statewide. CBS 4's Joe Murray is live with all of it in Coconut Creek. Joe?
Well, everyone is charged up with this election.
And we are on the storm watch tonight after another soggy, rainy day.
And this pattern is not ready to change just yet. Let's check in with our chief meteorologist, Craig Setzer. A lot of showers out there, Craig.
A lot of showers out there. More on that forecast coming up.
Thank you, Craig. New at 6, one man is dead in Oakland Park after being shot by someone in another car. Now investigators are trying to find out a motive for this double shooting. CBS 4's Ted Scouten is live in Oakland Park, where we just got some new surveillance video of this incident. Ted.
Yeah, Carly, BSO is taking a look at that video.
And here are the latest coronavirus numbers according to the Florida Department of Health. There are more than 3,600 new cases reported statewide since yesterday, with 86 more deaths reported in Florida. In Miami-Dade, there were 560 new cases and 14 new deaths. In Broward, 260 new cases and 2 new deaths. In Monroe, there are 13 new cases reported and no additional deaths. Here's a look at the 14-day positivity rates in South Florida. In Miami-Dade, it's at 4.55%. In Broward, they are now at 3.64%. And in Monroe, the 14-day average continues to climb. It is now above 7.5%.
There's much more to come on CBS 4 News at 6. A veteran Miami-Dade school teacher is speaking out on the challenges he and others are facing now that they're back in the classroom in the age of COVID.
Plus, with the bye week coming up, the Finns finally make the change at quarterback. What led to that decision? Coming up next in sports.
The road to reopening presents challenges to teachers as they face expected surges in COVID-19 cases within the public school system.
And tonight we speak to a veteran Miami-Dade school teacher about the new normals he and his colleagues are dealing with. CBS 4's Peter Dench is live from his school, Whispering Pines Elementary in Cutler Bay. Peter.
Carly, Seth Patterson has been a teacher for 18 years.
Don Mattingly, a very slick manager, and congratulations to him. And the Marlins, I think, are on their way at some point.
Oh, that wallpaper was interesting.
CBS 4 News at 6. We'll be right back.
Paw Central Dog Park is inside Miramar Regional Park, right next to the amphitheater and the baseball fields. Miramar residents have to register to get an access code. You got to get those doggies out of the house.
I know.
Get some exercise and fresh air, right?
They're so cute. They look so happy about it.
I know. My dog, when I take him to the dog park, he just sits right next to me. He doesn't want to.
Hanging out.
He is antisocial.
Well, maybe this will help.
Yeah.
Get him some friends.
We'll check it out. That's our news for now. The CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell is next.
And we're back in a half hour with CBS 4 News at 7. See you then.